Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for Weather Web Premium. This is your look ahead video on Saturday the 3rd of December. Thanks for watching. Here's your comparison of the three models then for days 7 to 10. This is off the European, GFS and Canadian. And showing a similar story. This is the period around next weekend, just onwards into the following week, around the 10th to the 13th of December. And also showing something of a westerly type regime. The European is a fairly slack one, with the flow coming in more from the southwest and making a little bit more of the high towards the south of Britain. The GFS model, by contrast, is more pronounced westerly, with low pressure towards the north, a more dominant feature, and it keeps the high that bit further towards the south into Europe. The Canadian makes a bit more of the high like the European does. It keeps the westerly flow, but it's a more anticyclonic type pattern with higher pressure in the mix. So we'll have a look at the latest output from the CFS. Simon showed you the Japanese weekly output yesterday in Friday's look ahead. This is then the period through the 10th until the 16th of December. We've got lower than normal heights centred out towards the north and northeast of Europe. We've got higher than normal heights, higher pressure towards the south of the British Isles, and a low somewhere to the south of Iceland. So the flow across the Atlantic initially as a westerly, and then just orientating itself more as a southwesterly across Britain, and then as more of a west-northwesterly into eastern parts of Europe, with that high the main feature towards us. So it may well be that still predominantly dry conditions are in the story across central and southern Britain from that sort of pattern. Into the third week, and it builds those heights across the British Isles and across northwestern Europe as a whole. High pressure then somewhere in charge, according to the CFS output at least, as a high quite strong over the eastern side of the States. Something of a low over the Atlantic, not a very pronounced feature, so it really just depends where the air mass comes in from by that stage. If we're still drawing some air from the south to southwest, it's maybe that bit milder. If we're feeding around the high more from Europe, then it could be a cooler south to southeasterly type regime, but the indication from that is fairly benign settled conditions and still relatively dry, if that model is to be believed, and it's not too far from what the Japanese was showing yesterday. Towards the later part of the month, that's the week 4, and again always treat with caution once you go forwards over these timescales, but it shows high pressure just centering itself more towards the west of the British Isles, trying to draw in something more of a cooler type east or northeasterly regime, with low pressure centered towards the south around Iberia. And again, it ties in with what Simon was showing yesterday with that Japanese output of cooler conditions trying to develop towards the second half of the month. That's all for today. Thanks for watching us here at Weather Web Premium, and bye for now.